The Bashir School has fallen victim to some bad winter weather conditions since school resumed on January 5th. Dangerously cold temperatures closed the school on January 7th and forced a 2-hour delay to the start of school on January 8th. Slick road conditions closed school on January 12th and forced postponement of the basketball game with Meadville until February 3rd. The missed days will be made up on January 19th and March 23rd. The Bashir basketball teams traveled to the NCMC Holiday Hoops Tournament December 23rd, where they played Newtown Harris. The Bashir girls fell behind 10-5 after one quarter and were down 20-14 at halftime. The Lady Tigers were still within 28-21 after 3 quarters, but Newtown Harris went on to win by a final score of 37-23. Mandy Taylor scored 13 points for Bashir. Kaylee Hall, Abby Kirby, Allison Thompson, and Haley Lawrence had 2 points each, and Abby Hall and Skylar Hausman scored 1 point. The Bashir boys jumped out to an 18-8 lead after one quarter and were up 39-17 at the half. Bashir never let up in the second half as they pulled away for a 67-27 win. Gabe Thomas led the Bashir scoring with 19 points. Patrick Jockmanson added 17. Chance Hill had 14. Cole Acton had 10, and Ty Gottman scored 7 points. Bashir hosted Schuyler County Friday night. The Lady Tigers faced a tough Schuyler County press and fell behind 15-9 after one quarter and trailed 33-14 at halftime. Schuyler County continued to outscore Bashir in the second half and pulled away for a 60-19 win. Abby Kirby and Mandy Taylor scored 6 points each for Bashir. Haley Lawrence added 4, Allison Thompson had 2, and Kaylee Hall scored 1 point. The Bashir boys hung in there with Schuyler in the early going, with Schuyler holding a slim 18-17 lead after one quarter. The Tigers had tied the game at 20 all in the second quarter when Schuyler County went on to an 18-0 run and never looked back as they cruised to an 80-48 win. Jacob Reeves scored 22 points for Bashir, Chance Hill had 11, Cole Acton had 10, Gabe Thomas had 3, and Ty Gottman scored 2 points. Last Friday, 13 members of the Bashir High School Math and Science Club headed out to Keokuk for their annual Eagle Days trip. In addition to viewing eagles in the wild along the river, the group saw live bird presentations by the World Bird Sanctuary and the Iowa State University Insect Zoo. On Wednesday morning, many Bashir High School students were treated to a biscuits and gravy breakfast. This activity is part of the Renaissance program, which encourages students by recognizing them for good grades, good attendance, and good citizenship. Bashir and Bevere met Friday night in Bevere for a pair of Tri-County Conference basketball games. The girls' game was neck and neck throughout the first half, with the score stuck at 22 all at halftime. Bashir held Bevere to only 7 points in the second half as they pulled away for a 45-29 win. Allison Thompson scored 13 points for Bashir, Mandy Taylor had 10, Abby Hall added 7, Abby Kirby had 6, Kaylee Hall scored 4, Haley Lawrence and Skylar Hausman had 2 each, and Sydney Sykes scored 1 point. The Bevere boys raced out to an early lead as they outscored Bashir 26-2 in the first quarter. Bashir started to get some offense going in the second quarter, but Bevere held a 45-15 lead at halftime. The teams were pretty evenly matched in the second half, and Bevere winning by a score of 68-37. Chance Hill scored 16 points for Bashir, Cole Acton had 9, Jacob Reeves added 6, and Ty Gottman, Patrick Jockimson, and Gabe Thomas scored 2 points each. Bashir Lady Tigers faced Schuyler County in the first round of the North Shelby tournament. Schuyler's tough press allowed them to build a 22-14 lead going into halftime. Brashear rallied to within 6 in the third quarter, but the rally fell short as Schuyler County pulled away for a 57-30 win. Mandy Taylor paced the Brashear scoring with 10 points. Sydney Sykes had 8, Abby Kirby and Allison Thompson had 4 each, Abby Hall had 3, and Caitley Hall scored 1 point. The Brashear boys played top-seeded Scotland County in the first round of the North Shelby tournament Tuesday night. Scotland County quickly established a 18-7 lead after one quarter and were up 38-16 at halftime. Brashear had their best offensive quarter in the third, scoring 10 points, but couldn't catch up as Scotland rolled away to a 77-31 win. Chance Hill scored 17 points for Brashear, Ty Gottman and Gabe Thomas had 4 each, and Colt Acton, Patrick Jochimson, and Jacob Reeves scored 2 points each. The Brashear Lady Tigers faced LaPlata in the consolation semifinals of the North Shelby tournament Wednesday night. Neither team shot very well in the early going, with LaPlata taking a 9-5 lead after one quarter and a 24-13 lead into halftime. Brashear had their best quarter in the fourth, scoring 13 points, but they couldn't close the gap and lost to LaPlata 55-33. Abby Kirby scored 11 points for Brashear, Allison Thompson and Mandy Taylor had 9 each, and Caitley Hall and Sydney Sykes scored 2 points each. The Brashear chapter of FBLA met Monday night for their annual Hearts for Heroes project. The group makes Valentine's to be delivered to the area veterans to show appreciation for their service to the country. After making the Valentine's, they enjoy a pizza party. The Brashear boys squared off against Marion County Thursday night at the North Shelby tournament. The two teams traded a couple of quick buckets before Marion County lit up the nets with some hot shooting. Marion County led 23-8 after one quarter and 40-12 at halftime. Brashear found the range, scoring 19 points in the third quarter, but the damage was already done as Marion County won 71-37. Chance Hill scored 15 points for Brashear, Cole Acton had 11, Gabe Thomas had 8, and Jacob Reeves scored 3 points. Green City visited Brashear for basketball Tuesday night. The Lady Gophers took a 12-3 lead after one quarter and were up 20-7 at halftime. Both teams generated more offense in the second half, with Green City pulling away for a 54-24 win. Haley Lawrence led Brashear with scoring with 8 points. Abby Kirby and Sadie Potter had 4 points each. Sydney Sykes had 3. Abby Hall and Mandy Taylor had 2 points each, and Caitley Hall scored 1 point. The Tigers kept it close in the early going, but Green City led 20-11 after one quarter and 44-21 at halftime. Brashear posted a strong third quarter, but so did Green City as the Gophers went on to win by a score of 75-47. Chance Hill scored 15 points for Brashear, Gabe Thomas added 13, Jacob Reeves had 8, Colt Acton had 6, and Patrick Jochimson scored 5 points. Mother Nature was up to her old tricks again this week as a 10-inch snowstorm on Sunday forced the cancellation of classes Monday. Another storm caused an early out on Wednesday. Monday's makeup day will be April 6th, and any future missed days will be made up at the end of the school year. On Tuesday of this week, the high school students attended their once-a-year health screenings. On Thursday, the elementary attended their health screenings. Some of the Truman nursing students helped conduct the screenings, and the screenings consisted of eye examinations, height, weight, blood pressure, checking of your heart, lungs, nose, and ears. Nurse Sherry leads the health screenings. Brashear hosted Meadville Tuesday night. The Lady Tigers played Meadville a close first quarter, with Meadville holding a 9-8 lead. A bad second and fourth quarters wrecked Brashear's chances for a win, as Meadville pulled away for a 37-25 win. Allison Thompson scored 10 points for Brashear, Skylar Hausman added 6, Abby Kirby scored 3, and Kaylee Hall, Sydney Sykes, and Abby Hall scored 2 points each. The Brashear boys had their work cut out for them as they faced the #1 team in the state. Both teams got off to a slow start, with no scoring in the first 2 minutes. Meadville broke the ice with a 3-pointer, and Brashear quickly answered with a 2-point bucket. But it was all Meadville after that, as they built a 43-17 halftime lead and won the game 78-27. Chance Hill scored 18 points for Brashear, Jacob Reeves had 4, Colt Acton had 3, and Patrick Jochimson scored 2 points for Brashear. Friday night was homecoming at Brashear and also senior night. Members of this year's senior class included Allie Garrett, Abby Hall, Rachel Heimer, Chance Hill, Hannah Mason, Jacob Reeves, Becca Story, Gabe Thomas, Allison Thompson, Rhiannon Turner, Kimmy Walshek, and Shelby Watson. After the ball games, the new king and queen and prince and princess were crowned. Candidates from 7th grade were Justin Leadham and Tana Garlock. From 8th grade was Wyatt Potter and Kirsten Hart. 9th grade was Harley Hayes and Harley Mihalovich. From 10th grade was Tyler Watson and Kaylee Hall. From 11th grade was Patrick Jochimson and Sydney Sykes. From 12th grade was Gabe Thomas and Becca Story. Last year's king and queen, Chance Hill and Abby Hall, crowned this year's king and queen, Gabe Thomas and Becca Story. And the winner of this year's prince and princess was Wyatt Potter and Kirsten Hart. The Brashear Lady Tigers and the Novinger Lady Wildcats got off to a slow start Thursday, as neither team scored for several minutes. Brashear held a slim 6-5 lead after the first quarter and a 10-9 lead at halftime. Although Brashear extended their lead to 25-21 after 3 quarters, Novinger rallied in the fourth quarter for a 39-31 win. Mandy Taylor scored 15 points for Brashear, Abby Kirby had 10, and Sydney Sykes, Allison Thompson, and Abby Hall scored 2 points each. There was nothing slow about Novinger's scoring in the boys' game, as they opened the game with a 27-0 run. Brashear actually outscored Novinger 19-18 in the second quarter, but the Wildcats still had a 49-28 lead at halftime. Brashear was never able to challenge Novinger's lead in the second half, and the final score was 82-43. Colt Acton scored 12 points for Brashear, Chance Hill and Jacob Reeves had 9 each, Gabe Thomas had 7, and Ty Gottman and Patrick Jochimson scored 3 points each. Brashear hosted Grundy County Friday for homecoming. The Grundy County girls took a 15-10 lead after 1 quarter, and Brashear was never able to close the gap, as Grundy County led 24-16 at halftime and went on to win 50-40. Abby Kirby scored 16 points for Brashear, Mandy Taylor had 9, Hannah Reeves had 5, Kaylee Hall had 4, and Abby Hall and Sadie Potter scored 3 points each. The boys' game was a thriller, with Brashear holding an 11-10 lead after 1 quarter and a 20-15 lead at halftime. Grundy County came out strong in the second half and eventually took a 5-point lead over Brashear, before the Tigers rallied for a 47-37 homecoming win. Colt Acton scored 15 points for Brashear, Jacob Reeves had 13, Chance Hill had 10, Patrick Jochimson had 6, and Ty Gottman scored 3 points. The Brashear boys faced Scotland County in the first round of the Brashear tournament. Brashear's Patrick Jochimson had the hot hand early, as Brashear took a 17-14 lead after 1 quarter. Brashear couldn't hold on to that lead, as Scotland County took a 40-25 lead into halftime and went on to win by a score of 78-38. Patrick Jochimson scored 15 points for Bashir, Chance Hill had 13, Cole Acton had 5, Gabe Thomas had 3, and Jacob Reeves scored 2 points. The Bashir girls played their first round tournament game with Marion County. Both teams defended fiercely in the early going, with Bashir leading 2-0 after one quarter. The Lady Tigers managed to extend the lead to 13-4 by halftime. Bashir was solidly in control in the second half, pulling away for a 45-26 win. Abby Kirby and Skylar Hausman scored 10 points for Bashir. Allison Thompson had 9. Mandy Taylor had 7, Abby Hall had 5, Caitlin Hall had 3, and Sadie Potter scored 1 point. Atlanta was the second round opponent for the Bashir boys. Both teams came in with only 5 players. Atlanta took the first quarter lead 13-9 and were up 30-20 at halftime. Atlanta pulled away for a 77-43 win as Bashir finished the game with only 3 players due to foul problems. Jacob Reeves scored 14 points for Bashir, Chance Hill added 12, Cole Acton had 9, Gabe Thomas had 5, and Patrick Jochimson scored 3 points. The Bashir tournament second round opponent for the Bashir girls was Scotland County. Bashir fell behind with state-ranked Scotland County team in the early going and trailed 34-8 at halftime. Scotland County continued to dominate in the second half as they rolled to a 61-14 win. Abby Kirby scored 5 points for Bashir, Mandy Taylor had 4, Sydney Sykes and Abby Hall had 2 each, and Sadie Potter scored 1 point. Last Thursday, members of FBLA attended the FBLA district contest where 6 Bashir students qualified for state. They were Chance Hill, Gabe Thomas, Sadie Potter, Allie Garrett, Abby Hall, and Sydney Sykes. On Wednesday, the annual NHS induction ceremony took place. They were chosen, and as they were chosen, their parents were walked out. New inductees were Sadie Potter, Haley Lawrence, Brianne Hart, Jacob Blyden, Brianne Turner, Casey Mihalovich, and Mikaela Potter. The Bashir girls took on Atlanta in the Bashir tournament third place game Thursday night. Atlanta jumped out to a 16-8 first quarter lead and were up 26-17 at halftime. Bashir actually outscored Atlanta in the second half, but not by enough, as Atlanta claimed third place with a 45-38 win. Mandy Taylor scored 18 points for Bashir, Abby Hall had 10, Abby Kirby, Allison Thompson, and Skylar Hausman had 3 points each, and Sydney Sykes scored 1 point. The Bashir boys met the Kirksville JV boys in the 5th place game at the Bashir tournament Thursday. There was lots of scoring in the first half, with Kirksville holding a 19-17 lead after one quarter and a 40-27 lead at halftime. Bashir had their best quarter in the fourth with 19 points, but Kirksville had kept up their hot pace and took 5th place with a 76-58 win. Chance Hill led all scorers with 29 points for Bashir. Cole Acton had 14, Gabe Thomas had 13, and Jacob Reeves scored 2 points for Bashir. The Bashir girls hosted Buckland-Macon County in the final home game of the year Tuesday. Neither team could gain much advantage in the first quarter, but BMC managed to pull away to a 28-21 lead at halftime. Bashir's offense came alive in the second half and scored 40 points to edge BMC 61-57 in a real nail-biter. Mandy Taylor scored 17 points for Bashir, Abby Kirby added 13, Abby Hall had 12, Allison Thompson had 10, Skylar Hausman had 8, and Sydney Sykes scored 1 point. Thursday of this week, school was canceled due to bad weather and will be made up at the end of the year during May. The Brashear girls played North Shelby in the first round of districts at MACC Saturday. North Shelby took a 13-8 first quarter lead, but Brashear battled back to tie the score at 19-all at halftime. Brashear couldn't match North Shelby's scoring in the second half and fell by a score of 42-31. Mandy Taylor scored 10 points for Brashear, Allison Thompson had 7, Abby Kirby and Abby Hall had 5 each, and Skylar Hausman scored 4 points. On Friday, members of the Brashear chapter of FBLA went on a field trip to St. Joseph, Missouri. While there, the group got to tour Missouri Western College, and later that day the group got to visit the Glore Museum before returning home that evening. On Monday, the students and faculty got to have some fun while raising money for a good cause. Students paid $1 to buy a strip of duct tape to tape Miss Shipman, Miss Odell, or Miss Fisher to the wall. This was part of a fundraising effort for Pennies for Patients, where money is raised to help hospital patients. A blood drive was held Wednesday at the Keller Building and was very successful. We met our goal plus an additional 5 units. Thanks to everyone for coming.
Despite all the recent cold weather, Friday morning's tornado drill is a reminder that spring severe weather season is just around the corner. The school passed with flying colors.
Many students from the Brashear High School spent a day Wednesday job shadowing. Members of the 5th grade, 7th grade, and 10th grade classes, as well as some other students, got to learn more about potential careers as they observed people working at their jobs. On Tuesday, March 10th, Brashear Junior High and High School Academic Bowl teams kicked off their season at La Plata. The Junior High beat La Plata in their first game of the season, 340-220. Next, they played Novinger, but they didn't fare as well, as they lost 250-300. The high school games went the same way, as Brashear beat La Plata 250-140 and lost to Novinger 150-280. They were back in action Wednesday, hosting Bevier and Atlanta. Both the junior high and the high school teams won both their games. Junior high beat Bevier 320-270 and beat Atlanta 300-270. The high school won against Bevier 160-190 in overtime and as well beat Atlanta 140-100. Tuesday, March 17th, Brashear Junior High and High School Academic Bowl teams headed to Meadville. Both teams won their first matches against BMC, with the junior high scoring 480-120 and the high school scoring 190-130. For the second games with Meadville, the junior high didn't fare as well as they lost 220-410. but the high school managed to go ahead and win 200 to 170. With the nicer days we've been having, the track and baseball teams have been able to spend more practice time outdoors. The baseball team is getting ready for their season opener Tuesday at North Shelby, and the junior high and varsity track teams have their first meets April 1st and April 2nd. Last Friday, members of the Bashir Band headed to Hannibal for the State Music Large Ensemble Contest. The band played 2 prepared numbers for judges, then had 2 sight read another number to complete the process. Congratulations to the band, who received a 3rd rating for their performance. Elementary students had a special treat Thursday as they met in the gym for an assembly. Wild Heart brought their high-energy singing and dancing show to educate students about animals and the environment. Mother Nature was up to her old tricks again this week as rain and wet field conditions forced cancellation of the baseball game Tuesday at North Shelby and the home baseball game Thursday with Buckland-Macon County. The BMC game has been rescheduled for May the 4th. Monday night was author night for the Bashir Elementary students. The evening began with a meal served to parents by their students. After the meal, students got to show off their books they created, as well as demonstrate 7 habit principles they have developed. There was also a book fair to go along with these Reading Week activities. March 27th, the varsity and junior high academic bowl teams headed to Green City. The junior high was able to win both of their games and beat Lane County 280 to 140 and Green City 300 to 220. The varsity was a different story. They lost both of their games by a fair amount. They lost to Lane County 150 to 340 and Green City 180 to 310. These were the last matches of the regular season, as the next games will be conference held in Lane County. April 1st was the first meet for the junior high track team. With only 2 junior high girls, the girls took 3rd place overall, with Avery Atkins finishing 1st in hurdles, 1st in long jump, 2nd in shot put, and 2nd in the 100-meter dash. Alexa Higgins finished 2nd in hurdles, 3rd in the 100-meter dash, and 4th in the 400-meter dash. The boys didn't do as well, but still placed in a few events. Levi Blankenship, Quinn Allen, Wyatt Potter, and Aiden Zentz finished 3rd in the 4x2, and Wyatt Potter finishing 3rd in hurdles and 4th in the triple jump. The Brashear Tigers kicked off the spring baseball season with a home game with Lane County. Brashear got on the scoreboard early with a 2-run Gabe Thomas home run, but Lane County started to swing the bats hot as the game progressed and pulled away to a 12-2 win. Gabe Thomas got the start for Brashear and Chance Hill pitching in relief. In the JV game, Colt Acton and Jacob Blything teamed up to strike out a combined 8 batters, as Brashear won the 3-inning game by a score of 3-1. This week has been a busy week as our school has begun statewide map testing. This year, one change is all the testing is done online. April 2nd, the Brashear varsity track team competed at Kirksville. Casey Mihalovich placed 4th in the 100-meter dash with a time of 14.47 and placed 4th in the 200-meter dash with a time of 31.11. The girls 4x100 placed 5th with a time of 1 minute and 3 seconds, and Trevor Love placed 5th in the 400-meter dash with a time of 1 minute and 1 second. Hannah Vries placed 4th in shot put with a distance of 27 feet and 9 inches. The varsity track team were in action Tuesday evening at La Plata. The girls tied for 7th place with Bevere. The Brashear baseball team headed to Canton Tuesday night for a road game. Brashear had very little luck offensively but held Canton to a single run through the first 2 innings. Things started going downhill in the third as Canton scored 4 runs. The game ended early after Canton scored an additional 9 runs in the fourth to claim the 14-0 win. Chance Hill got the start for Brashear with Gabe Thomas and Cole Acton pitching in relief. Kevin Wheeler of the Tri-County Electric was at school Friday the 10th to teach the elementary about safety guidelines when a power line may be down. Sunday, April the 12th, Miss Reese and 6 of her FBLA state qualifiers attended the State Leadership Conference in Springfield. Unfortunately, none of the Brashear members qualified for nationals. Brashear hosted the Knox County baseball squad for a Friday night game. An infield hit and a walk set the stage for a Knox County 3-run home run in the top of the first. Brashear looked like they had the answer in the bottom of the first as the first 4 batters reached base. Unfortunately, no runs were scored as lead base runners were erased during the process. Knox County scored another 6 runs in the second, and although Brashear continued to get runners aboard, none of them scored. Brashear finally got on the scoreboard in the bottom of the 5th, trailing 14-0. Chance Hill singled and Gabe Thomas doubled, and with 2 outs, Zane Sykes drove the first pitch of his at-bat over the right center field fence for a 3-run home run. Brashear lost by a final score of 14-3. Zane Sykes had a home run for Brashear, Gabe Thomas had a double and a single, and Chance Hill and Jacob Blything had 2 singles each, and Cole Acton and Dalton Hawker each had a single. Chance Hill and Gabe Thomas pitched for Brashear. Wednesday, April 15th, the varsity track team headed to Atlanta. The Brashear girls placed 6th overall in the meet, and the Brashear boys placed 10th overall in the meet. For the girls, Casey Mihalovich placed 3rd in the 100-meter dash and 4th in the long jump. The girls relay team placed 3rd in the 3,200-meter relay, 4th in the 800-meter relay, and 6th in the 400-meter relay. For the high school boys, Patrick Jockinson placed 6th in the 1,600 and the 3,200 run. Monday morning of testing week, several faculty members took on the roles of superheroes to remind students of how to prepare themselves properly for testing. Things such as eating a good breakfast and getting a good night's sleep were emphasized so that each student could do their very best on their state tests. Friday, April 17th was the district shop trip. 11 students qualified for state, including Austin Ray, Kirsten Hart, Levi Blankenship, Warren Platts, Zane Sykes, Celia Kincaid, Hannah Reeves, Trevor Love, Brianne Turner, Rhiannon Turner, and Gabe Thomas. The state contest is May 5th at Lodge of Four Seasons. Saturday, April 18th was the date for the 2015 Brashear Prom. The evening kicked off with Grand March at the high school gym where Chance Hill and Allison Thompson were named king and queen. The festivities were moved then to the Down Under at Truman State for the dance, and then on to Leisure World for after prom. Friday, April 17th, the junior high track team met in Putnam County. For the girls, Avery Acton placed 7th in the 100-meter dash, 6th in the 75-meter hurdles, 6th in long jump, and 8th in shot put. For the boys, Wyatt Potter placed 3rd in the 100-meter hurdles. Overall, the girls tied for 9th and the boys placed 10th. On April 17th, the Brashear varsity track team met at Kirksville. The girls 4x2 relay placed 9th, Casey Mihalovich placed 6th in long jump, Hannah Reeves placed 9th in shot put, and Allie Garrett placed 8th in discus. For the boys, Patrick Jochimson placed 13th in the 800-meter run, 15th in the 1600, and 14th in the 3200. April 22nd, the Brashear Junior High and high school track teams headed to Milan for an all-day track meet, where the varsity girls, Casey Mihalovich placed 2nd in the 100-meter dash, 5th in the 200-meter dash, and 4th in long jump. Abby Hall placed 4th in the 800-meter run and 8th in long jump. Allie Garrett placed 5th in shot put, and the girls' relay teams placed 4th in the 4x100, 5th in the 4x2, and 3rd in the 4x8. The girls placed 5th overall. For the junior high girls, Avery Acton placed 1st in the 100-meter hurdles, 1st in long jump, and 2nd in shot put. The junior high girls placed 6th overall. The varsity boys placed 10th overall, with Trevor Love placing 5th in the 400-meter and Patrick Jochimson placing 5th in the 1600-meter and 4th in the 3200-meter. For the junior high boys, Wyatt Potter scored the only 2 points for Brashear, placing 7th in the triple jump. Green City was the destination for the Brashear baseball team last Thursday. Neither team scored in the first, but Green City got on the scoreboard with 3 runs in the second, 2 in the fourth, and 2 more in the fifth. Cole Acton singled and scored in the 6th inning for Brashear's lone run. Except for some key defensive laps, the game could have been much closer than the final 7-1 score, which would indicate. Cole Acton and Chance Hill and Gabe Thomas had hits for Brashear, and Thomas pitched for Brashear. Brashear's JV team won 6-3. Brashear baseball was on the road Tuesday to Milan. The Tigers got on the scoreboard first with 3 runs in the top of the first, but Milan answered with 7 in the bottom of the first and 6 more in the second. Milan was leading 23-3 when Brashear scored twice in the fourth, falling to Milan by a final score of 23-5. Allie Garrett had 2 hits for Brashear. Jacob Blything and Byron Hines also had hits. Chance Hill got the start for Brashear with Dalton Hawker and Jacob Blything pitching in relief. On April 23rd, the annual Brashear Spring Concert was held. In addition to the band and choir members, the art and shop departments had projects on display. Sheriff Bob Hardwick was here Monday for the annual DARE graduation. The 5th grade class has been studying drug awareness resistant education, and Sheriff Hardwick was here to give them their diplomas. Wednesday, April 29th, the varsity and junior high track teams headed to La Plata for the conference track meet. For the varsity girls, Casey Mihalovich placed 3rd in the 100-meter, 2nd in the 200-meter, 4th in long jump, and 4th in triple jump. Abby Hall placed 5th in the 800-meter and 7th in long jump. Megan McHenry placed 7th in the 1600-meter and 8th in triple jump. Allie Garrett placed 8th in shot put and 6th in discus, and Leah Grissom placed 6th in the 3200-meter. Hannah Reeves placed 4th in shot put, and the girls relay teams placed 4th in the 4x100, 4th in the 4x800, and 5th in the 4x200. For the junior high girls, Avery Hackton placed 1st in the 75-meter hurdles, 1st in shot put, 2nd in the 100-meter hurdles, and Alexa Higgins placed 5th in the 400-meter dash. As for the varsity boys, Trevor Love placed 5th in the 400-meter dash and 10th in the discus. Patrick Jockinson placed 9th in the 1600-meter and 6th in the 3200-meter. For the junior high boys, Quinn Allen placed 6th in the 100-meter dash, 8th in the 100-meter hurdles, and John Garhold placed 8th in shot put and 6th in discus. Wyatt Potter placed 6th in the 100-meter hurdles, and the boys relay team placed 6th in the 4x2. The Brashear baseball team played a makeup game at Marion County Friday night. It was a tough night offensively for the Tiger, as Chance Hill's first inning bunt singled was their only hit. Meanwhile, Marion County scored 3 times in the first, once in the second, 4 times in the fourth, and twice in the fifth to claim a 10-0 win. Jacob Blythen, Gabe Thomas, and Colt Acton pitched for Brashear.
The Tigers hosted the Nottinger baseball squad Tuesday night. Nottinger put a run on the board in the top of the first, but with a run in the bottom of the first and another in the bottom of the second, Brashear took a 2-1 lead. The Nottinger bats caught fire in the third, scoring 8 runs, and scored another 6 in the fourth. Brashear added another 2 runs on a Gabe Thomas third-inning home run. Nottinger took the game by a final score of 16-4. Gabe Thomas had 2 hits for Brashear, with Colt Acton and Zane Sykes also having hits. Chance Hill, Colt Acton, and Dalton Hawker pitched for Brashear. And now we'll leave you with the sights and sounds of the Spring Concert Art and Industrial Arts Show.
Congratulations to Abby Hall, who recently competed at the state music contest. Abby received a number 2 ranking for her clarinet solo. Congratulations to Trevor Love, Rhiannon Turner, Gabe Thomas, Austin Ray, Kirsten Hart, Levi Blankenship, Lauren Platts, Zane Sykes, Celia Kincaid, and Hannah Reeves, who competed at the State Industrial Arts Contest on Tuesday. Hannah Reeves took first place with her billfold project. The annual awards banquet was held Wednesday evening at the school. The evening started with a carrying-in supper followed by awards presentations for students who competed in extracurricular activities. The Tigers played a real nail-biter at Bevere last Thursday. Brashear led 1-0 and then were tied 1-1. They took a 3-1 lead but were tied at 3-3. The Tigers took one more lead at 4-3 before finally falling to Bevere by a final score of 5-4. For Brashear, Byron Hides had a 2 RBI double, Chance Hill had a double and a single, Gabe Thomas had 2 singles, and Cole Acton had a single. Gabe Thomas got the start on the mound for Brashear.
Last week, KTVO visited Brashear to present their Just Drive safety presentation. They brought a message of highway safety to all of our grade 9 through 12 students, reminding them of the consequences of irresponsible behavior behind the wheel. Last Wednesday, the Brashear chapter of the National Honor Society went on their annual spring trip. The group traveled to Kansas City's New Theater restaurant to see the musical Hairspray. The seniors hit the road to St. Louis Thursday for their annual senior trip. While there, they shopped, dined, and had adventures at Sky Zone. On Friday, most of the students here at BHS rolled up their sleeves and pitched in to improve their school. Various groups worked on projects such as landscaping the patio area and sprucing up the ball field and the locker rooms. Thanks to all of our helping hands. Graduation was held Sunday at 3 p.m. The band kicked off the festivities with musical entertainment before the 12 graduating seniors heard speeches from Aaron Moots and Kathy March. Chance Hill and Allison Thompson were named valedictorian and salutatorian, and students' awards and scholarships were awarded before the group retired to a reception in the cafeteria. On the past 2 Saturdays, the Brashear track and field team competed in districts and sectionals. Congratulations to Casey Mihalovich, who qualified for sectionals, where she took 7th place. On May 8th, the Brashear baseball team hit the road for a game at Putnam County. Brashear took an early 3-1 lead after 1 inning, then built it into a 10-5 lead after 6 innings. After going scoreless in the top of the 7th, the Tigers allowed Putnam County to score 5 times to tie the game. The game wouldn't be decided until the 10th inning, with Brashear falling by a score of 13-12. Colt Acton, Chance Hill, Gabe Thomas, Zane Sykes, and Dalton Hawker had hits for Brashear. Gabe Thomas, Chance Hill, and Colt Acton pitched. Brashear was scheduled to host Atlanta May the 11th, but wet field conditions moved the game to Atlanta. Both teams scored in the first inning, with Atlanta holding a slim 3-2 lead. The score was still close after 3 innings, with Atlanta leading 5-3, before a 7-run 4th inning put Atlanta ahead for good. Atlanta took the game by a final score of 16-3. Chance Hill went 3 for 3 for Brashear, with Zane Sykes also having a hit. Chance Hill got the start for Brashear, with Jacob Blything pitching in relief. Brashear faced La Plata in the first round of district baseball Monday night. The Tigers wasted no time getting on the scoreboard, as Colt Acton had a leadoff single, Jacob Blything was hit by a pitch, and Gabe Thomas singled, putting Brashear ahead 2-0. La Plata answered with a run in the bottom of the first. Brashear held on to the lead until a pair of runs in the bottom of the third put La Plata on top 3-2. La Plata would score single runs in the fourth and fifth to win by a final score of 5-2. Colt Acton and Gabe Thomas had 2 hits each for Brashear. Gabe Thomas got the start, giving up 1 earned run in 4 2/3 innings while striking out 6. Chance Hill pitched 1 1/3 innings of scoreless relief while striking out 2 batters.